beautiful soul. Welcome to the Quantum Business Queen podcast. This podcast is a vortex for activating wealth, riches, and boss bitches. It is here that I teach multi-dimensional business. Our content will fall under 3 different categories: 5D quantum creation, 4D frequency alchemy, and the most potent 3D strategy. Every aspect of business that contributes to the creation of success is covered here. Plus, I will be personally interviewing the most amazing boss bitches that are at the forefront of the game, paving the way for money, magic, and magnetism in business. Let's get ready to activate all of that within you. Hi, amazing human. Welcome to this week's episode. I nearly just said welcome to this week's episode of The Deep Undoing. Wow. The Deep Undoing was meant to be a 9-week program. I think we drew it out into 13 weeks where it was literally undoing some of the biggest plugins that are keeping us from experiencing true freedom. And these are things I call separation contracts. What are the things keeping you separate from the realities that you want to experience? So here is a huge thing, a misconception around manifestation. Number 1, I want to talk to you about misconception around manifestation and some of the concepts we spoke about in The Deep Undoing that have been massive mind expanders and game changers when it comes to stepping into the realities you want to experience now. It is all about what I am referring to as the I am consciousness. When you are in the I am consciousness, you recognize that there is no separation between you and the things you want to experience. And this started coming into my awareness when I was presented with the Necker Island opportunity. And, in that moment when the opportunity arose, it was something that I'd always wanted to do. And I didn't realize it was going to manifest itself so quickly. And it was an opportunity that cost a lot of money. And in that moment, it was like, well, the evidence of the resources were not there. But did I let that hold me back from being able to choose? So when the evidence does not hold you back from being able to choose something that you want, that is true freedom. So I chose the opportunity and the evidence and all the resources came. And that, in my opinion, is the I am consciousness. So I can choose based on what I want to experience, not based on what my reality says is okay or what my reality gives me permission to experience or choose, because I am those things. So for example, I chose to go to Necker Island because I am money. And guess what? The money came. So I choose beyond the evidence of my physical reality because I am those things. I am those experiences. And so the Deep Undoing was a journey that I got to take people on that helped them realize the contracts. And I like to refer to these things as contracts because we are agreeing to the separation. And when we could recognize that we are agreeing to them and rip up those contracts, then we become the things we want to experience. So this is so incredibly powerful. And if you really understood how powerful you were as a deliberate creator, then you would start to close the gap between you and the things that you want. Now, the biggest misconception with manifestation, and brace yourselves here, guys, brace yourselves, is that you think you need to manifest something magically out of nowhere, or that you need to pull into existence the thing that doesn't exist, or that you need to solidify all of those things that are not currently in your current experience. And that simply is not the case. And that is an actual and gigantic misconception. Manifestation is about fine-tuning your perception to be able to recognize everything that already is, because you are everything that already is in existence, which is the I am consciousness. I think sometimes the perception around manifestation is a distortion in and of itself, because if we perceive something, if we're trying to say that we're calling something in that isn't here, we perpetuate the thing that isn't here. We perpetuate the isn't here-ness of the thing. So manifestation is literally fine-tuning your perception to know that you already are. It already is. And you get to just step into it by closing the gap of separation. It's a really, really powerful way to reposition your reality and how you interact with the universe. Okay, so how do you close the gap between the reality you want to experience and where you're at right now? Number one are the stories you create and the meanings you give things. Number one. So what are the stories you have created around why you haven't stepped into this, or what are you making it mean in terms of, oh, well, this isn't happening for me, or I keep perpetuating this, or I kept trying to heal this and it still isn't, whatever. The stories are the gap. Okay. The stories and the meanings are the gap. So look at the things you want to experience and look at the stories you created around why you don't have these things. And look at what you're making that mean, and that is the gap. Could it be simply that there is a time lapse between what you're requesting and what you're stepping into? And your job in this time lapse between when the manifestation drops in or when you're experiencing that reality is just to have the best possible time and to release as much resistance, aka stories and meanings, as you possibly can, and to love every aspect of your life as possible and stop making when things don't work out mean that you're a bad manifester, or maybe you're not worthy, or maybe you have more trauma to heal before you can have these experiences. It's just a gap. There's always going to be a little gap between when you request, when you step into, when you tweak your perception, and when you receive. So stop making a gap mean something, because that is the separation between you now and you having the things you want to experience. So number one misconception is that you are trying to create something that's not there, pull something in that isn't already is. It all already is. You just have to tweak your perception, aka frequency, release the stories and the meanings, and allow it to come into fruition, and it will, and it does. It is law. Okay. So the other thing I want to talk about, and this was something we spoke about on the last day of the Deep Undoing, it really threw people for a loop, and it wasn't even something that was in my awareness until it channeled itself through me. And this is this whole concept around receiving. And when you break down the definition of receiving, like things are what we make them mean, right? So when you are saying I am receiving something, I really want you to tune into where in that process of manifestation is that object. When you are receiving, is that object in your current existence? It technically is not, because you wouldn't need to receive it. So I know this is kind of a mind bender, this one. And again, this opened up a massive can of worms and a lot of discussion in the Deep Undoing. But if you already are an experience, if you already are abundance, it's not something that you need to receive. So for me, when I'm stepping into a new timeline, when I am upgrading, when I am really activating myself to be in a new experience, it's not about receiving, it's about calibrating to something new. Because when you receive, you imply that the experience is not there. It is calling something in that is external into your current reality. When if you are in the I am consciousness, you already are. There's nothing you need to receive, because you are everything. It's just a new calibration. It is a new surrendering. It is a new releasing. It is a new shedding that allows you to step into more of what you already are. I'm giggling because these concepts are not for the faint of heart. It is just things for you to ponder. New perceptions, new awarenesses, new angles for you to look at when it comes to stepping into deeper layers of who you already are. And in my mind, that is what manifestation is. That is what freedom is. It is choosing beyond the evidence. It is knowing you already are those things. You just have to close the gap, which is the story and the meanings between where you are right now and the new calibrations of what you want to experience. And then really look at the language and the ideas and the beliefs around how we've actually positioned things to be outside of us and external to us, which actually is a gap. It is the separation. When we know we already are, when we are everything, we are source consciousness, we are God, we are the creators, there's really nothing outside of us. there's really nothing for us to receive. It's about shedding the things that have kept the perception separate and closing the gap. So again, these are concepts that are a little bit of a mind bender today, but you really need to be careful around what is taught when it comes to manifestation. People teach that you need to be this, or you need to be worthy, or you need to be what if you fill in the blank in order to experience whatever you want to experience. And there are no truths in this world. The truths that we accept are what we choose to believe. And my belief is that everything we have is right here and right now. We could take our unworthiness. We could take our lack of being healed. We could take all of it with us and still experience those new realities, as long as we understand the gaps that we need to close and the new perceptions, which is our ability to tweak our energy to calibrate into those timelines. Whole new, in my opinion, advanced way of understanding and looking at manifestation. If you want to be involved in these really, really powerful manifestation conversations or undoing conversations and understand what all these separation contracts are, how to blend realities. It's really about blending your reality and blending your perception to be in the calibrations of what you want to experience. And it will, by law, come to fruition. It will be an experience. If you want to be a part of this, then you let me know. The Deep Undoing is one of the most powerful journeys that I have facilitated, and it was truly, truly, truly profound. We go super, super deep. It's 13 weeks of content, guest speakers, giving you protocols for peeling back all the layers that have kept you separate from the things that you get to step into by birthright. So this is going to be a short and sweet one today. I will leave you with all of these amazing things to ponder. If you want more details on getting access to the Deep Undoing experience, you message me, and it is a truly, truly powerful awakening. And with that, my beautiful soul, I will leave you for this week. And until next time, just know that you can be, do, and have it all, but it's all about being first. I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening today, beautiful soul. I hope you got so much gold and were activated in such a way that you could step into your highest timeline of abundance and freedom, because it is more than possible for you. If that desire has been planted in your soul, it is so deliberate. If you wouldn't mind, please rate, review, subscribe to this podcast so that we can get this message into the hearts and ears of more amazing light beings across the world. I would love to continue this conversation with you, so feel free to get in touch on Instagram at sarah.tynan.quantumcoach. If you're a Facebook person, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Sarah Tynan International. And please don't ever forget, if your desire is there, it's because your destiny is there too. You just have to remember who you are. Bye for now, beautiful.